Hey, what's up guys? Radku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. And today is going to be Burning Abyss. Now, I was going to make this deck profile on Friday when the ban list came out, but the problem was that all the cards uh, were updated today, so I guess I'll just make the profile today, and we'll see something different tomorrow. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So Burning Abyss has always been like a very, very popular deck. It's always been somewhere in the competitive format, whether it be Rogue or even Tier 2 and above. Um, it's always been somewhere. And with the release of a bunch of cards off the ban list that help boost it, it definitely helps to make the deck a lot better. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting things off, I of course play triple Farfa. Farfa is actually really good. So all the Burning Abyss monsters have an effect where if you control a monster that is not a Burning Abyss monster, destroy this card. You can only use one effect of Farfa per turn. So basically they all have that effect. So you kind of just don't really play many other non-Burning Abyss monsters, but you do play some, which can hinder you a bit, but it doesn't really matter. So if you control no spells or traps, you can special summon this card from your hand, or if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one monster on the field, banish it until the end of the turn. So um, basically, you can either get a free special summon, which is the case for most of these, um, actually all of them. But if you don't want to do that, you can also just banish a card on the field, which is really good because you could banish like a Savage Dragon or pretty much anything. Then I play 3 copies of Skarm. Skarm's effect, I'm just gonna skip the first effect. During the end phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add one level 3 Fiend type monster from your deck to your hand. So basically, all the Burning Abyss monsters, as well as basically all your monsters, are level 3 except Backjack. Um, but basically, it's very important to be able to get more materials, and Skarm searching from the deck is definitely worth it. So that's why I play 3 copies of it. And finally, the cards that were released off the ban list, Graph and Seer. So Graph's effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Burning Abyss monster from your deck, except Graph. So basically, it's a free special summon. Like, that's amazing. It's better than Skarm because instead of searching, you special summon. So, I mean, it's basically the same thing considering that all the BA monsters can special summon themselves, but Graph is definitely very, very good, and there's a reason why it was limited. Then I play 2 copies of Seer, the second card that was put to 2. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Burning Abyss monster in your graveyard except Seer, special summon it. So, free special summon, again, being able to renew your resources is very good. As well as if you're able to spam out cards and then your Dante or your Constellar Pleiades gets destroyed, it's very good to be able to gain a bunch of advantage of all the BA effects that were just sent to the graveyard. Then I play 1 copy of Libic. Libic's effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 3 Dark Fiend type monster, but its effects are negated, which doesn't really matter because the main point is to go into one of your level 3s or to go into your Link monsters like Cherubini. So it's definitely really good, but it's just good as a one of because it's an effect negation. One copy of Collab, Calcab. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one set spell or trap card on the field, return it to the hand. It's okay. It's not exactly the best card, but it's definitely gonna work if you are playing against like I hate to bring it up, but an Abyss Actor deck. Of course, you're never gonna play against it because it's not meta. But it's definitely a pretty good effect. Then I play one copy of Alich. Alich's effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which is definitely good considering that most cards have activated effects against cards on the field and not in the graveyard, so you can definitely utilize this effect pretty well. And that is it for the BA monsters. The BA lineup is pretty solid and pretty standard considering that Graf and Seer are back at 2. So, BA isn't exactly at full power yet, but it's definitely still really good. And now we have a few more BA monsters to work with. So, starting off with the substitute BA monsters, as you would say. Triple Tour Guide from the Underworld. This card just got released to 3, and I am really happy about it because it definitely boosted BAs a ton. So this card is definitely mandatory for almost all BA variants, and it's also just a really good card. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon one level 3 fiend monster from your hand or deck, but negate its effects. Also, it cannot be used as synchro material. So basically, this card is a free Dante because it negates its effects, so you don't have to worry about your cards nuking themselves because of the fact that you control a non-burning abyss monster. So again, free special summon from the extra deck while still, or free special summon from the deck without having to worry about them destroying themselves. Then I play 3 copies of Fiendish Rhino. Fiend monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, which is definitely really good, which makes all your monsters, including some of your extra deck monsters, not many of them, but some of them, immune to destruction as well. Um, then, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Fiend monster except for um, one fiend monster from your deck except Fiendish Rhino, you can special summon it. So yeah. Basically, send one from your deck to the graveyard. So on top of just being able to trigger off their effects with sending to the graveyard, because all of them have graveyard effects, it's definitely really good to be able to use Fiendish Rhino to trigger itself so that you have one in the grave to set up like Graph or something so that you get a free special summon and you can still use the effects without them destroying themselves. A lot of the non-BA monsters aren't really meant to be played after like the first play because if you do, then they're gonna just nuke themselves. Then I play 2 copies of Absolute King Backjack. This is like one of the original cards that people used to play in the BA decks. You can banish this card from your graveyard, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal trap, set it to your side of the field. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. That set card can be activated during this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, then place them in any order you want. So basically, you can. I do play a lot of traps because this is a somewhat trap variant. It's not exactly a full trap variant because I wasn't a big fan of the full trap list. But this allowing you to activate cards like Lost Wind or Paleozoic Dynamiscus allows you to put up some great negation, as well as I do play Machiura the Destructor, but we'll get to that in a sec. I played 3 copies of Cypher and Gear Gamma because it's Gamma, and of course your one driver The Gamma package is always good. I was thinking about just doing Ash Blossom to save some room in this deck, but I guess that I just like this way too much. Um, then I play one copy of Machiora the Destructor. I really was debating whether to play this card, but this helps you unbrick your hand if you have too many like spell or trap cards in your hand, because you can use like Foolish Burial to send it to the graveyard to activate your trap cards from your hand on turn 2, but that can be easily Ash Blossom, so feel free to cut that card. It's not exactly the best card to play in this deck. Then I play um, 2 copies of Rank of Magic Astral Force in case you want to go into your Constellar Pleiades, which is still a pretty good card. Detach 1 material, return 1 card on the field to the hand. So definitely going into your Constellar Pleiades is really good, and being able to just use Rank Up Magic spells in general is really good for this deck. And you can go into your Beatrice really easily if you choose not to use your Rank of Magic spells. So yeah. Then I play 1 copy of Foolish Burial to send Machiora or any of your Burning Abyss monsters. So really good. Then I play 3 copies of Paleozoic Dinomischus. I felt like the other cards were just a bit too slow to be playing 3 copies of them, so I chose to only play 3 copies of Dinomischus. Um, Target 1 face-up card on the field, discard 1 card, and if you do, banish it. Once per chain, when a trap card is activated while this card is in the graveyard, special summon this card as a normal level 2 Aqua monster. Then if this card is summoned this way, this card is unaffected by spell traps or unaffected by monster effects. Also banish it when it leaves the field. So on top of us playing the trap variant where you're playing quite a few traps, you're definitely going to be able to abuse this effect, the banishing effect, a lot in this deck, especially with cards like Farfa also being able to banish too. You're definitely going to be able to utilize that to banish a lot of your opponent's field. Then I played 2 copies of Fiend Griefing. You're supposed to play 3 copies in this deck, and I definitely consider cutting out Machiora. Sorry for this card. But Fiend Griefing's effect: target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. Then you can send 1 Fiend type monster from your deck to the graveyard. So, on top of just being able to put some of your opponent's maybe combo pieces back into the deck so that they can't use it right then, you can also use this card to send some monsters from your deck to the graveyard. It's basically like a free uh, Foolish Burial, so you can send any of your Burning Abyss monsters to the graveyard to gain huge advantage off of it, and that is really good. Then I play 2 copies of Breakthrough Soul. Target 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has lost or has its effects negated until the end of the turn. During the turn, except this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That target has its effects negated until the end of the turn. So it's a double negation, really good card. Definitely, I'd say it's better than Lost Wind, but that's just me. So basically, this can allow you to ban it or to negate and then negate the next turn. So this could help disrupt plays because it doesn't say your turn on it. So it definitely works out really well. Then I play 2 copies of Lost Wind. You can target 1 face-up special summon monster on the field, negate its effects. Also, its original attack is halved. If a monster is special summoned during your opponent's from your opponent's extra deck while this card is in the graveyard, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So a lot of your traps have a theme of having double effects, like Dinomischus, Breakthrough, Lost Wind. they have recurring effects while in the graveyard, so you can definitely utilize them once they've been sent to the graveyard, which you can't say about many traps, but it's definitely really good. Then I play 2 copies of Titano Titanicider, whatever the heck it's called. You can target one monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck, change its attack to 0, and if you do, negate its effects. If your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn this card was sent, you can set this card. Um, you can set it. So on top of being slightly better than Lost Win, because your opponent is almost always going to use extra deck monsters, unless they're playing Dreadnought Youth, then you're screwed with this card. But you'll be able to definitely utilize this card really well. Against most decks nowadays, and you can recur it like all the other trap cards except for Feed Griefing. But you being able to utilize this card really well really helps in the deck, and it helps with, again, cards like Backjack or cards like Makiora, which again I suggest you cut out. So that is it for the main deck. I'd say the main deck is really solid now. If you want to cut out again Makiora, maybe switch up the hand trap lineup like 2 Ash, 2 Valor. If you want to add more traps, I feel like it definitely would make the deck better. So leave your comments and suggestions down below for the main deck. Now for the extra deck, one access code talker for OTK purposes. 2 copies of Cherubini, 2 level 3 monsters. This monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effect. So basically it helps to save your monsters. If you can get out 2 of your Burning Abyss monsters, you can go into this to save your monsters from being destroyed. Since it's not a cost, it's an effect. If this card would be destroyed by battle by your opponent's card effect, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard instead. So basically, if this card would be destroyed, you can send your Burning Abyss monsters to gain more advantage, which is really, really good. Then you can send one level 3 monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then target one Burning Abyss monster. It gains attack equal to that card's you sent to the graveyard. So on top of gaining more attack, which isn't really the important part of the effect, but is definitely good, is the fact that you get to send your Burning Abyss monsters to gain more advantage. Because this deck can send your Burning Abyss monsters to the graveyard like crazy. So it's definitely worth it. Then I play 1 copy of IP Masquerena just because, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Unicorn for some Masquerena plays, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and 1 copy of Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. Rusty Bardiche just got limited to 1 after it was banned for a while because of some degenerate plays, but it's definitely now gonna be an auto include in this deck because you can destroy some of your Burning Abyss monsters. But the thing is, like, Burning Abyss monsters won't again nuke the field if you have to deal with their effects. So you're kinda only be able to use one of its link arrows because basically you can destroy this card, destroy 1 card, then destroy 1 card your opponent controls. So you can only really utilize the side arrow and then only be able to utilize Cherubini. But I guess it's fine. It's okay. Not exactly the best card right now in this deck, but if you utilize a full Phantom Knight BA deck, like put more Phantom Knight cards in the extra deck, you'll definitely be able to utilize, or in the deck, you'll definitely be able to utilize this card better. Then I play 1 copy of Phantom Knights of Breaksword just as a or a rank 3 option. You can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 card and 1 card you control. Destroy them. If this card or this Exceed Summon card is destroyed, you can send 2 of the Phantom Knights monsters with the same level to your graveyard, special summon them, increase their level by 1. Also, you cannot special summon except for the dark monsters. So you don't really need that effect, because you can't really use it. But just as a rank 3 option to go into Constellar Pleiades with rank up magic. But you can also just utilize this card as a decent card for destruction. Because if you send some cards you control to the graveyard, that means you can gain advantage off the BA graveyard effects. Sorry guys, I'm really tired. I pulled an all-nighter for homework last night and I feel like crap. Dante, the effect of Dante is pretty good. This is the main known piece of the deck. Once per turn you can detach one material, then choose a number between 1 and 3, then send that many cards from the top of the deck to the graveyard. Until the end of the turn, this card gains 500 attack for each card sent to the graveyard this way. If this card attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one BA monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So, milling through cards in this deck is really, really good. I'm pretty sure there used to be a Lightsworn variant of this, but we're not going to go into that right now. Being able to send your BA monsters to the grave is really, really helpful. So you'll be able to send your BA monsters to the grave, your Dante will gain attack, then your BA monster's effect will trigger, and special summon or destroy or do whatever the heck you want it to. Because Dante is still a BA monster, so cards that you summon out still won't nuke themselves. So I played 2 copies of that. 1 copy of Beatrice. This is kind of like the boss monster of the deck, even though it's not as utilized. You can XC summon this card by sending 1 BA monster from your hand to the graveyard, then using 1 Dante monster you control as Xyz material. So you'll be able to send a BA monster to gain advantage, then summon it on top of your Dante. Then you can it's treated as an Xyz summon. If this card is summoned this way, the following effects cannot be activated this turn. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. This card in your if this card in your opponent's or in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, by battle or card effect, you can send sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So basically, this is the way you get to, well, it would be the way you get to your Burning Abyss fusion monster, which I don't play because I didn't have enough room, but you can definitely drop some other cards. But, this card is really, really good. You can summon out, Virgil, you could summon out another Dante, you can summon out Cherubini just to be able to use its protection effect. So Beatrice, very, very good, and a decent boss monster at that. Then I played 2 copies of Constellar Pleiades. This is your target for Rank Up Magic Astral Force, which, I mean, unless you have a Beatrice on the field, Rank of Magic Astral Force is probably your best card. So Constellar Pleiades' effect. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 card on the field, return it to the hand. So it is a once per turn, but just detaching Xyz material is really good because you can use those material to gain advantage because BA monsters. And then just being able to utilize returning to the hand and non-destruction removal is very, very good. Then I play 1 copy of Virgil, Rockstar of the Burning Abyss. This card is okay, but I threw it in here just because of Beatrice. You can only control 1 Virgil once per turn. You can discard 1 Burning Abyss card, then target 1 card your opponent controls, or in their graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. So you can return their cards to the deck, which you could return like their Savage Dragon or whatever the heck you want to, because most cards nowadays are going to be extra deck monsters. So if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can draw one card. So just drawing cards, yay, good. And again, a really important effect, being able to return to the deck is very, very good. And I definitely suggest utilizing this card if you can. You're not going to use it that much, but it's definitely really good. So that is it for the deck profile. I am super happy about the way this deck turned out, except for the Makiura, cut it out. This deck is very well utilized and very well liked within the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and I think this deck has a bright future ahead, especially if we can get like Graf, Seer, and Beatrice off the ban list completely, but I doubt that'll happen anytime soon. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and let me know what you think I can do to upgrade this deck in any way in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.